Hi y'all, and welcome to today's silhouette tutorial. And I'm Lisa Martinez. Today's tutorial is how to warp or arc your text in Silhouette. So I know sometimes depending on your project, you want to have your wording, actually is what we're going to be doing, have a little bit of a curve or an arc to it depending on what you're working on. So this can be, this is actually really perfect for signs, even maybe some vinyl work, depending on how you want that to come out. So it's really easy, and it's not only limited to just a circular or a half a moon arc, but it also relates to any other shape. So let's go ahead and jump into this tutorial so we can show you how that all takes place. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So here we are in Silhouette. And the first thing we want to do is we want to type our text. So let's just take some basic text and let's just type hello. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in so it's easier to see. And let's also pick a font that we like. Let's see. Picking the font is always the hardest part for me. I don't know about you guys. Let's try this one. Okay, this one, I like this one. Let's do this one. Okay. So we're also going to make it a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and adjust our size. If we go up here above it, we can adjust our font size. Let's make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. That looks good. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to arc our, we're going to put it over a circle. So what we're going to do is create a circle first. Create the shape of circle. Do you want it completely proportioned, you know, a 5 by 5? Do you want it more oblong? And, you know, that's the first thing we want to just, that's the first thing we want to do. So let's start off with making it completely symmetrical. So let's go ahead and do 6, enter, and then the height, we want 6, enter. Let's lock that into place. Oops, lock that into place. Okay, so here is our circle. So the next thing we want to do is we want to grab our text, and what we want to do is we want to double click on our text. So what we're looking for when we do this is we are looking for this plus cross arrow symbol. So the next thing we want to do is once we get that cross arrow symbol, we want to click on it and drag it over to our circle until it snaps. This is called snapping. So at this point, do we like where the position of our hello is? Do we want it to arc on top? And this is where we can start playing with this. We can actually move it. Do we want it? We can bring it down to come on the inside. Whoops, there we go. So this one, it takes a little patience. So there we go. Do we want it to fall on the inside, or do we like, and if you notice, this is a little bit closer. The letters are a little bit closer versus it being up on top. So the nice thing about this is, say for instance, we want this to be up on top. Let's go ahead and move it a little bit more symmetrical, a little bit more centered. So there is our hello, and we want it on top because we like the spacing. But if you noticed, some of our spacing, the H and the E and the L's, they're a little bit spaced apart. Well, if you come over to your right where your font selection is, you've got line spacing and you've got character spacing. So right now we're at 100%. So if we want to kind of smush this together, bring the letters a little bit closer together, all we have to do is decrease this character spacing. So what we're going to do is start closing it in. Whoops, that's a little bit too much. There. This way now it all looks blended, kind of welded together, and we can actually weld this after the fact. So say for instance, we like this, we're happy with this. What do we do next? This is probably the most important step that you need to remember when doing this. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go Object, and we're going to convert this to a path. So now we can actually remove the circle, and now we've got our hello curved. So now let's go back a couple of steps. So here is our original hello, and let's move the character spacing back to 100%. So let's say, for instance, we wanted it more on the inside, like, oops, on the inside. But as you can see, the letters are really close together. So let's go ahead and adjust our character spacing. And then we can just kind of reposition where we want the hello to be. Now say you're not really liking the whole circular, your circle being completely symmetrical. Say you wanted it a little bit more oblong. So let's go ahead and just click out of there. Let's click on our circle and let's adjust it. So as you can see, our wording has actually adjusted as well. So let's go ahead and double click, go back, because what we're looking for is the double cross arrows. And let's position this maybe on the outside. And you can see, again, the spacing. But because we've changed our circle to more of an oblong, it has elongated our curve. So I'm going to actually take it back down onto the inside like I had before. And let's space this out. I'm just going to kind of, so the placement on the circle is really important, because when you hit convert to path, that's how your word is going to stay. So for instance, if we've got this, whoops, again, this takes a little bit of patience to work with. So don't get frustrated. It just takes a little bit of patience. So for instance, if I place it there and I hit object convert to path, that is how my font or my words is going to be positioned. So it's very important to make sure that when you place your words on your circle, that you have it exactly where you want it positioned, because once you hit convert to path, you're not going to be able to adjust it or curve it the way you want to. So let's go ahead and go back a couple of steps. So if you noticed, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my circle and make it a little bit more symmetrical like we did before. I'm just going to change this back to a 6. Oops. And I want this to be a 6. Okay. So if you notice, our circle is actually grayed out, which means that we can't do anything to it. It's just there. It's more of a placement factor at this point. So we'll go ahead and double click. Now, if you sit here and you're trying to move it and you're saying, I've got the circle and it's not doing anything, make sure that you're looking for this double cross arrow. If you don't see that, you're not going to be able to rotate it and move it along the circle. This is what makes it curve, and this is what's going to give you the arc. So we want to make sure it snaps. Once it snaps into place, there we go. It snaps into place. Then we can adjust it. So if you notice over here on this left-hand side, there's a little slider. If you noticed, I was actually adjusting it, and I was kind of making it kind of go inside the circle, kind of closer together. And then I was expanding it, making it extremely curved outside the circle, but it's still following the shape of that circle that we have created. So again, I'm happy with that. Object, whoops, object. Okay, here's a good example. Say you click out of it and you're like, oh yay, this is exactly what I want. If you go ahead and create your sign and put it on your sign and you move it, it's not gonna come apart because it's still connected to your circle. So here we go. So again, all you do is go object and convert to path. If you notice, our circle is now red, which means our circle is now an actual circle. And say this was our actual sign we were going to make. Let's just put a background to this. Let's just do like this bamboo. And let's change that. Let's get something more, a little bit more easier on the eyes, like that. There we go. So here we go, and then we can still rotate it. But if you notice, it is now it will now fit. First, make sure you grab the right thing. It'll grab and it'll fit along that path of the circle that we created. So this is probably one of the easiest ways to get that arc that you're looking for. But the nice thing about this is it doesn't just work for circles. So let's go ahead and let's clear all this out. Let's type some text. Let's type welcome. Welcome, and let's select a font. Remember, you can select a font from up on top or to the right. Let's select this one. I like that one. I like the size. So if you only have the basic, you're not going to have as many shapes. But for those that have the business edition, I believe even the one above the business edition, if you go underneath, so remember on the left-hand side, you're going to have your square, your rounded rectangle, your rectangle, and your polygon. So, but underneath there, you will have, even in the basic edition, you'll have a couple of these features. I think you get a star. I think you might get a heart. So you get a couple of little extra features or shapes along this route. So let's go ahead and let's just select the star. I'm sorry, the heart. So here's our heart. And we're going to double click our cross arrows. So do we want this on the outside or do we want this on the inside of the heart? So let's go ahead and just go on the outside, or it went right into the inside. And see how it just curved alongside the heart? Do we want it to go, do we want it to dip inside the divot? Do we want to, I kind of liked that. I kind of like how it kind of dipped into the little point down here. That's pretty neat. So again, if we click out of it and then we try to just grab our welcome and move it, it's not gonna work. You're grabbing everything. We're gonna hit object convert to path. And I think it only converted our heart. So let's make sure we are there we go. We're happy with that. Object convert to path. Now, if we wanted to take it on the outside of the heart, again, this does require patience. I can't repeat that enough because it's really easy to get frustrated with this feature because you want it to, you know where you want it, but to get it there is a different story. So say we want it, oops, and one little slip of the mouse and it can go on the inside. So say we want it there. Do we want it slender? Do we want a little bit? Do we want to expand it? And then wherever we like our position, object, convert to path. Now, let me get out of this. And let's just, this also does, you could actually also create a sentence or multiple words. So let's just do, love is kind. Okay, let's fill this in. So you're not just constrained to only a word. You can actually do this with multiple words, a sentence. For instance, if you were doing something for a wedding and you wanted this heart, grab, you could fill in an entire sentence. And again, now say, for instance, I wanted this a little bit more spaced out. If we go to our right-hand side and we're going to go to our text panel. Again, this is where we can select our font. We go to character spacing and we can space these words out. Let's move this up a little bit. There we go. And let's go object, convert to path. And then say we wanted to fill in our heart with color. Let's go pink. And then we've got our love is kind there. So you're not limited to just a word. You're not limited to just a circle. You've now got, you can actually do multiple shapes. Let's just try another shape just so you can see that it just works with multiple things. Let's try this. Let's see. What is this? Let's try this little flower thing. No, let's try the star. I'm gonna try the star. Okay, again, remember on this one, on the star, this little point, if you bring it in, it makes our point sharper. Bring it out, it's gonna be a little bit fuller. So I want my points a little bit sharper. Okay. And I'm gonna rotate I want my point on top. Also, if you notice, there's a 5, which means there's 5 points. If you need to adjust that, you can adjust it here with the slider. Do we want 7? Let's do the 7 one. This one looks like fun. So remember on the star, you can adjust that, and that is actually with any of these shapes over here, any point, anywhere you see that. This little looks like a saw thing. Again, here's our little red dot. Increase it. You can see how it's kind of making the point sharper, not as full. If you expand it, a little bit more full. Again, it reminds me of a saw. Do we want 9 blades, 14 blades, 20 blades? So again, this is when you do upgrade to the to a paid version of Silhouette. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to our star, and let's put boom, bang. Reminds me kind of those old cartoons. Let's do this. Let's do this a blue, and let's see. Let's pick a font. I think I had comic font. Bear with me. Sorry, it's thinking. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, post in the group, and I will be more than happy to help you. Again, this is just a fun way to add some character to wording and text. Let me see. Let's just do this one. Okay. So let's move it over here to the center. Do we want to go on the outside of the star? I think I kind of want it to go all the way around the star. So I'm just trying to, let's see what it looks like on the inside. I can get it on the inside. Okay, I don't like that. Maybe if we space them out. Let's see. This one probably is a little bit more difficult. I don't know if you'll be able to read this one as good as you could some of the other ones. This one looks a little bit better. If you notice, I've got boom and bang. So if I can space that out just a bit. And then we can go object, convert to path. We can remove our, and here is our mishmash wording here. Again, depending on your project, this might work for you. It's got kind of a neat effect. It is a little bit difficult to read, but the point is you're not limited to just a circle. So one last thing, for instance, if you don't have these features, if you don't have the upgrade yet, for instance, you're not ready to upgrade yet, you want to stick with the free version, that's perfectly fine. You can actually bring in pictures or objects. So let's go ahead and grab, I downloaded a couple of banners. Let's grab the red one, and let me grab this gray one because they're different banners. Remember to insert items into your project. We want to go File, Merge. When you do that, it's going to merge your object directly into the project you're working on. If you don't do that, if we were to go File, Open, and I go to grab this red banner, it's going to put it into its own project itself. But since we were working, this is where we were working, this is where I want it, that's why we do File, Merge. Okay, so let's go ahead and I picked these two banners because number one, there are two different, completely different ones. This one has a very slight curve on it versus this one's kind of got the wavy looking ribbon on it. So I just wanted to show you two different types of banners that we could do and what it looks like. So let's go ahead and again type in our words. I'm just going to type in congrats, and I'm just going to leave it white. I always like to pick a font just so we can. That one's a little bit difficult. Let's see. Just makes it a little bit fun. But yeah, let's just do this jungle font here. Okay. And so it actually fits perfectly right there. But say we wanted it to slightly curve, go with the curvature of the banner. So what we're going to do is we've got our image, we've inserted our image, and we've got our cross arrows, and now we're just going to snap it into place. So another good key, so on this one in particular, because it's not like the circle where the circle or the heart or the star, that when we snap it together, it goes gray versus the red outline. So another key factor to remember when you are snapping these into position is you want to, number one, make sure you've got your crossbar. Number two, you want to make sure that you're seeing this sidebar. Once you see this sidebar, that means you have actually snapped it into place. So again, we can do our spacing, and if we, let's go ahead and space this out. So you can see how it kind of fell off the ribbon. And so let's just move it a little bit to kind of curve there. Or do we want it to kind of curve on the bottom around the ribbon? Let's see. Around the bottom. And I'm trying to get it on the inside. It may not let me do it on the inside. So let's just go ahead and keep it on the top. So it's following right alongside that curvature of the banner. So I'm going to space this out a tad bit more. And I want to just keep adjusting it, because when you adjust it, it's going to flow with the curvature of what we're doing. So because I keep spacing out my letters, I want it to continue to keep flowing across the ribbon. So I'm happy with that. Again, object, convert to path. It's probably the most important takeaway from this lesson is object, convert to path. And there we go. It now flows with the curvature of the red banner. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's grab our our gray one. Let's move this red one out. Excuse me. And again, congrats. And all I'm doing to get to this crossbar is double clicking. So we're going to double click. And also remember, when you double click, this also allows you to make adjustments. Like say I had misspelled congrats, I forgot the N. Or you actually want to spell congratulations, you can just arrow over to where you need to be and continue editing your text or your sentence. Say you wanted to add a person's name or you needed your text to be longer. But that's how you would edit it. And then again, we're going to grab our crossbar, our cross arrows. And so I'm going to start here, but I wanted to kind of flow with the wave of the ribbon. So let's see if we expand it, it's just going to make it a little bit more wider. So I want to space that out. I'm not liking the way there's a lot of spacing there. So let's go back up on top of the banner and see how that looks. See what a difference that made versus going underneath it. This one it just looks like it's spaced out a little bit better. So let's go ahead and space it out just a tad more. And I'm going to slightly move it over. And I actually like that. So again, let's go object, convert to path. We've now got congrats. And if we wanted to, we could put somebody's name right in the middle. I'll just put, I'll use my daughter's name. And okay, let's move congrats. Let's move this out of the way. Let's bring this there. Let's bring it underneath there. And let's see how we space this out. How do we like that? I'm going to move it over. So we can do something like that. And then we've got everything kind of flowing alongside with the ribbon. So several different ways to change your fonts. Have fun with it, play with it. Of course, probably the most popular is going to be the circle. So you can give that arch to your project, but it's not limited to just a circle. You can just have fun. You can add different shapes, maybe a shamrock, maybe some different elements that you like. Again, you can just do a word, you can do a little sentence. For instance, for that heart, you probably could make your font really small and put a nice, pretty saying. If you were doing something for a wedding or for an anniversary, that would be really pretty to get that saying in the shape of a heart. You could do that. So again, just another neat little feature that Silhouette offers, another neat way to add some character to your project. And it's really, really easy to do. Again, any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, post in the group, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Again, that's this week's Silhouette tutorial. So join me next time as we learn something new. I hope you enjoy. And until next time, thanks. Bye now.